Welcome back. Today I want to bring to your attention three very specific points about when you're recording for demonstrations that might be seen online. Now, like all of you, I have watched many online demonstrations over the last couple of years because we haven't been able to travel. And I see these three things as the most important things that are being missed or looked over or forgotten about when people are doing demonstrations live for floral art. First and foremost is particularly if you're using your phone as the recording camera mechanism, is that they will put the phone in portrait mode. So like this. And that's going to give black bars either side of what people are seeing on their screens. So what you need to do always is have it in landscape mode. So always have your phone in this configuration for when you're recording using the phone. Second thing that I want to talk to you about is microphones, and there's a whole other video about microphones and how you need to use them, and you'll see today I'm using the Rode, but I'll leave the link for that particular video so that you can have a look at that and understand the differences between the microphones that I use and what I use them for, the different situations I use them for. But always you should have an external microphone separate to whatever device you're using to record. So if you're using your phone, one job for one piece of equipment. So use your phone if you need to record the video itself. Use your phone to record the video. Use a separate independent microphone to record the audio. Clap yourself in at the start so that you can sync the sound and the video, but always have those two separate pieces of equipment. In terms of the camera and getting the angle right, what I see so often is that people set themselves up so that they can be seen standing in the view that people are watching. That's fine, so long as you are not so far away or the camera is not so far away that the people watching can't actually see your design or see what you're doing. So certainly have that. If you feel a need to be in the shot all the time, then you're going to have a look at the view that the people are seeing. So that's the back of your camera. Don't just set it up and say, oh, well, that's a good, nice shot and that'll do me. If you're too far away, they simply can't see it and they'll get bored and they'll switch off. And that's a waste of your time as well as theirs. Think about the background. You'll see here I've got a green screen up. And that's simply so that you don't have to see the rest of where I'm sitting to do this particular recording. If you're in your workshop, make sure that the background is not too busy because it's distracting. You know, people looking at your design and they'll think, oh, what's that in the corner? And they'll focus on that and miss what you're doing. Once again, waste of your time and your effort. So always have a very plain background. It can be just a plain wall. It doesn't have to be the green screen. These are cheap enough to get around the place. And if you've got a wall or if you've got a workspace, you can actually pin that up over the top of your workspace. And so it gives you the plain background because we want to feature on the design as we do with any demonstration. It's no different to doing it live. Same thing about what you're wearing, something that is bland, for want of a better term. Not necessarily black because that doesn't always showcase your work in the best way, but something that doesn't clash with your background, that is bland enough so that people can see the design that you're doing in front of you. Next thing is about mounting cameras and using cameras. So we've already talked about using it landscape rather than portrait. I use a tripod here. So what you're seeing is a camera mounted on a tripod. It's adjustable, all sorts of heights and angles for the top where the camera is. So we can bring it down to focus just on the table or where I am. If you're using your phone, then I would suggest the first thing you get is one of these adjustable stands so that they can attach to anything. I've actually had them attached to a ladder when I've done demonstrations outside because there was nowhere else to mount a tripod that was safe or stable. So this one of these, you know, the best of them, cheapest of them, I should say, come from just the $2 shops, the variety stores. But you can also get ones that are a little bit daintier. So this one, so you can see it. And what happens with that is that screws into a phone stand. So you might have a phone stand that you use on the desk, and all you need to do is find one where this Gorilla Grip, for want of a better word, is going to screw into the stand, so that you can then adjust the placement, whether it's on another table, whether it's wrapped around something, so you get the side view. The beauty of having, and what we'll probably do with this, is we'll attach it to the tripod itself, so that I've got a shot that is recording me talking, but I've also got a shot lower down that is just where I'm doing the design, so just on the table, so you can see that greater detail that might need to be. In terms of a live Zoom presentation or a live online presentation of any kind, if you've got two cameras, you need two separate logins, so that someone who is helping you can switch from one view to the other, so that people can see you, then they can see the view from the other camera looking down at the table. And that's, in terms of professionalism, that's really going to lift you above the people who are just standing a long way back from the camera and doing a design and hoping you can see it. In terms of the microphone, we talked earlier about, I shouldn't have tapped on it then, should I? Deafen you. In terms of a microphone, I've talked to you about having separate pieces of equipment for separate activities. This is my phone headset. Don't rely on phone headsets to record your video. It's all very well to say, well, that's what I use all the time and people can hear me in a phone call. But we want the sound to be really clear. You want people to understand what you're saying and to be able to see what you're doing. The last thing I will mention to you is about why I'm sitting down and why I'm on a stool. Is that it is easier for me, in terms of focusing and getting a nice close shot, to sit against a table. This is an adjustable table. It's a mobile table for a computer. So it goes up to standing height. So I actually have it up here and I could stand behind it. And that would then mean that the camera shot would be a little bit higher. So I'd have to have the screen higher behind me. All those sorts of things still keep in mind. But for me, just to talk to you today, I thought it was easier just to show you how you can stay in shot, do your design, and be seated at the same time. So I know that in live presentations, we've always done it standing. And that's because we've always had a table that was the right height. We have to make adjustments for the way we are doing things differently. And this is one of them, is that you can do a design sitting down, still be in the shot, and still be clearly heard if you've got your microphone on, and people are going to be engaged by what you're doing. If you stand, you need to raise the platform that you're working on. Now that might be as simple as putting a box on top of a table and then having your draper, your black cover or your plain cover over that, so people can't see what's underneath. Obviously, they can still focus on the design, and if you're more comfortable standing, then that's what you should be doing. But again, you've got to look at how close the camera is and how clearly people can see. So do a test run, as you would with any live demonstration. Do a test run with the camera and record 5 minutes and see what is going to be seen at the other end of it, because they're not going to see anything different to what you're seeing on your recorded device. There you go. A few quick tips for getting your professionalism up to the right level for when you're doing online demonstrations.